She seems to me to have such a great head on her shoulders, and she credits you for that.
I'm proud of her.
How much behind-the-scenes wrestling do you guys do?
Oh, plenty. I'm not gonna say we don't. You have your mother-daughter relationship. You know, obviously, you're gonna have ups and downs.
On August 16, 2026, actress Hayden Panettiere was found unresponsive inside an apartment complex in Greenville, South Carolina. She was 36 years old. Within days, her estranged mother spoke publicly for the first time, and the story that followed touched on a decades-long career, a fractured family, a documented history of domestic abuse, and years of private pain that had never fully been resolved. Here is what has actually been reported and confirmed, separated from speculation. Hayden Panettiere's career did not begin with a choice she made herself. Her mother, Lesley Vogel, a former soap opera actress, signed her with the Wilhelmina modeling agency before she was even a year old. By 4, she was appearing on the ABC soap opera One Life to Live. By 6, she had joined Guiding Light. Her voice work in the 1998 film A Bug's Life earned her a Grammy nomination for Best Spoken Word Album for Children, making her one of the youngest nominees the category had seen. In 2000, at age 11, she appeared opposite Denzel Washington in Remember the Titans. Her breakout came with NBC's Heroes, where she played Claire Bennett, a cheerleader with regenerative healing powers, from 2006 to 2010, turning her into one of the most recognizable young actresses in the country and giving her a global platform even after years already spent working. Audiences responded to the warmth she brought to the character, and the show's success meant that for the first time, Panettiere was carrying a hit series rather than simply appearing in one. From 2011 to 2023, she played Kirby Reed across the Scream franchise, returning to the role periodically even as the rest of her career moved in other directions. But Nashville, the ABC and later CMT musical drama, became the role most associated with her adult career. She played Juliette Barnes, a volatile country star navigating fame and personal collapse, across 6 seasons from 2012 to 2018, earning 2 Golden Globe nominations for Best Supporting Actress in a Series, Miniseries, or Television Film. She has said in later interviews that by the time she was 11 and had already worked alongside Denzel Washington, her teachers and classmates began treating her differently, a separateness she has described as following her through much of her adult life. Her personal life unfolded in public alongside her career. She began a relationship with Ukrainian heavyweight boxing champion Vladimir Klitschko in 2009. They separated briefly in 2011, reunited, and became engaged 2 years later. Their daughter, Kaya, was born in December 2014. In 2015, while still on Nashville, Panettiere left the show for a period to enter a rehabilitation facility, later speaking publicly about the depression she was experiencing. When Nashville ended in 2018, she made the decision to send Kaya to live with Klitschko in Ukraine, later calling it one of the hardest choices of her life. That same year, Panettiere began a relationship with Brian Hickerson, an aspiring actor and real estate agent she met through her brother. What followed became one of the most closely documented abusive relationships in recent celebrity history. Hickerson was first arrested in May 2019 on suspicion of domestic violence, with bond set at $50,000. In February 2020, he was arrested again in Wyoming after Panettiere alleged he punched her in the face. He pleaded not guilty. In July 2020, he was arrested a third time in Los Angeles on multiple felony charges, and that month Panettiere was granted a restraining order against him. She addressed the abuse publicly around that time, writing on Instagram that she hoped sharing her story could help others in abusive relationships find the courage to seek help. In April 2021, Hickerson pleaded no contest to 2 felony counts of injuring a spouse or girlfriend, while several other charges, including battery, assault with a deadly weapon, and witness intimidation, were dismissed as part of the plea agreement. He was sentenced to 45 days in county jail, credited with time already served, along with 4 years of probation, mandatory domestic violence classes, restitution, and a 5-year protective order. Even after his release, the relationship continued on and off. He described their renewed contact as part of making amends during his recovery, and by 2022, Panettiere was discussing it publicly herself, telling one interviewer that continuing contact with him was contingent on his continued recovery, while making clear she did not excuse what he had done. Days before her death, a Los Angeles judge denied a request to reduce his felony convictions to misdemeanors. In an interview that aired in May 2026, Hickerson himself publicly acknowledged specific instances of past abuse toward her, describing that period of his life as a dark one involving drugs and alcohol, and saying he still thought about her every day. Panettiere's family carried its own separate loss. Her only sibling, Jansen Panettiere, an actor, died in February 2023 at age 28, from cardiomegaly, an enlarged heart, with aortic valve complications. She later told People magazine that losing him felt like losing half of her soul, and that her body reacted to the grief in ways she couldn't initially control, including weight gain and a period of agoraphobia. She said she worked her way back through exercise and routine, though she continued marking his birthday and the anniversary of his death publicly every year. In May 2026, 3 months before her death, Panettiere published a memoir, This Is Me, a reckoning writing about her upbringing in the industry and her complicated relationship with her mother. The book reopened a long-dormant public rift. Lesley Vogel, who had managed Panettiere's career through childhood and into early adulthood, responded by telling Page Six that after 20 years of what she called trauma, she had chosen, on professional advice, to have no contact with her daughter, saying it reflected the pain of watching a child choose a self-destructive path while feeling powerless to stop it, and adding that no parent hopes for that outcome. Panettiere had spoken during that same period about wanting to move past the darker chapters of her life, telling one interviewer weeks before her death that she had shaken off a lot of the negativity she had carried for years and felt a sense of possibility about what came next. On the day Panettiere died, police and EMS responded to a 911 call reporting an unresponsive woman at a Greenville, South Carolina residence at approximately 1:51 p.m. She was found in cardiac arrest, according to the Greenville County Coroner's Office. Responders attempted advanced life support, but she was pronounced dead at the scene at 2:32 p.m. An autopsy the next day found no signs of trauma, and police said a preliminary investigation found no indication of foul play. The coroner's office has said the official cause and manner of death remain pending further investigation, including toxicology. Dispatch communications reportedly referenced a possible overdose in the initial call, but that has not been confirmed as the cause of death. Brian Hickerson and his brother, Zach, were both present when Panettiere was found. According to a police incident report, Hickerson did not become visibly emotional until she was declared dead, and he showed officers medication she had reportedly been taking. Zach Hickerson later said publicly that his brother administered Narcan after finding her unconscious. Hickerson's attorney has said his client is cooperating with the investigation and pointed to the finding of no foul play. 2 days after her death, on August 18, Lesley Vogel gave her first public comments, speaking exclusively to NBC News. She said she believed Hayden had been an extraordinarily talented person, and that young people who grow up in the entertainment industry face a genuine struggle that often pushes them toward the wrong path. She said she believed her daughter had lost her way, and wished the outcome had been different. She identified Brian Hickerson as the person she said the family had been trying for some time to remove from her daughter's life, and confirmed he was with Hayden when she died. That initial statement drew criticism, including from actress Holly Robinson Peete, who felt it lacked the warmth expected of a grieving parent. Vogel followed up with a further statement to Entertainment Tonight, clarifying that although she and her daughter were estranged, it was not, in her words, for lack of care or love, but stemmed from the involvement of what she called a toxic individual she believes contributed to her daughter's death. She said Hayden had unfortunately become involved with the wrong person, and that despite the family's efforts, they had not been able to separate them. Panettiere's father, Skip Panettiere, released his own statement, describing her as an incredible light and a force of nature who brought immeasurable love and joy to everyone who knew her and to the millions who watched her on screen. He asked for privacy as the family processes the loss. His statement, warmer and less complicated in tone than Vogel's, stood in contrast to a mother's public comments that seemed to carry both grief and an evident need to explain years of distance to a public that had never fully understood it. Panettiere had spoken about that distance herself in the months before her death, telling interviewers she had not given up on reconciling with her mother and that she felt she had left the door open even as she believed her mother had chosen to close it. Vogel, for her part, has described the no-contact decision as one made in the interest of her own well-being after 2 decades of difficulty in the relationship. Neither account cancels out the other, and no reconciliation was reached before Panettiere's death. As of this video, the investigation remains open, and no official cause of death has been released. What has been confirmed is a career spanning more than 3 decades, from infancy in front of a camera to 6 seasons on Nashville, and a family now navigating public grief alongside years of private pain that were never fully resolved. This script is based on reporting from NBC News, ABC News, Deadline, Rolling Stone, People, Entertainment Tonight, TMZ, and Fox News. Some details, including the official cause of death, remain under investigation and may be updated as authorities release further information.